Let's talk about something that is just so frustrating for any growing company. You have a brilliant strategy, right? Everyone's on board, everyone's excited, and then it just fizzles out. It dies. Why does that happen? Well, the real reason is probably not what you think it is. I mean, wow, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It gets right to the absolute heart of the problem. It's telling us that the breakdown isn't a bad idea. It's not even disagreement. It's a failure in the hidden, unspoken power structures inside the company.
No, really, think about it for a second. That big initiative from last quarter, the one everybody was so pumped about, what happened? Is it actually moving forward, or is it just stuck in this endless loop of meetings and check-ins?
We all have our go-to excuses, right? We love to blame bad ideas or say the team just wasn't aligned. But what if those are just symptoms? The real killer, the true culprit, is over there on the right. It's ambiguity. It's that power vacuum that gets created because nobody ever actually said, hey, you get to make the final call here. And this is where it all gets so messy. Because ambiguity isn't neutral. It's not this peaceful, flat structure we dream about. Nope. It creates a political battlefield. And on that battlefield, the best ideas don't win. The best politicians do. When you don't define authority, something called a shadow hierarchy rushes in to fill that void. All of a sudden, the person who's been there the longest, or who has the loudest voice, has more real power than the person whose actual job it is to own the decision. And you know what this shadow structure is built for? Protecting the status quo. It's optimized for safety and comfort, not for the bold moves a real strategy requires. In all of this chaos, it comes with a price tag, a very real cost. Let's call it the ambiguity tax. It's the price you are constantly paying in time, in money, and in morale, all because you fail to be crystal clear about who's in charge. Come on, be honest. Does any of this look familiar? The endless meetings where the real goal isn't to make a decision, it's just to get agreement so nobody can be blamed later. Or the high performer who just kind of ignores the stuff they don't want to do. And my personal favorite, the pocket veto. That's when someone nods and agrees in the meeting, then goes back to their desk and quietly does nothing, killing the whole plan in silence. This veto culture thing, it is especially toxic. When authority is muddy, everybody in the room thinks their no has the power of a presidential veto. Objections stop being helpful input and they just become roadblocks. And progress just stops, it grinds to a halt because anyone, for any reason, can stop the whole train. So how does a brilliant strategy become a totally useless plan? Well, it often follows this sad little path. First, you hunt for consensus. Because hey, if everyone agrees, no one person is accountable, right? But to get everyone to agree, you have to avoid any hard choices, any trade-offs. So you water down the strategy bit by bit until it offends nobody and helps nobody. And what you're left with is a plan that's really just a wish list of everyone's pet projects. It's safe and it's completely useless. Okay, this is so important. We have to understand the difference between these two things. On one hand, you have social power. That's influence. It comes from relationships, from being around for a while. On the other, you have formal authority. That's the explicit, written down right to make a decision. When you let social power win, you're sending a giant signal to your entire company that the strategy is optional. Real authority makes it clear. Compliance isn't a suggestion. It's a condition of employment. All right, enough with the theory. Let's look at a real-world story to see how this all spirals into a total disaster. We're going to look at a company called Explicit and a project that, honestly, was doomed from the very beginning. So, meet the cast of characters in our little tragedy. You've got a CEO who absolutely hates conflict, a brand new VP of product who's trying to make some big, necessary changes. And then there's the powerful 10-year veteran VP of operations who sees all this change as a direct threat to his turf. And the CEO's fatal mistake, he just assumed these two would, collaborate. And you can probably guess what happens next. It's a predictable train wreck. The VP of Ops, he never says no out loud. He just stalls. He uses his tenure, his relationships, his social power to slow roll everything. When the new VP finally escalates, the CEO, who hates conflict, calls it a communication problem. He completely misses the point. This isn't about people's feelings, it's about a broken structure. The result? The project dies. The new VP of product quits. And the company is out $2 million. $2 million. All because the CEO refused to do one simple thing. Point to a person and say, you have the authority to decide, and you have the obligation to comply. Okay, that was pretty bleak. So how do we stop this from happening to us?
let's talk about the fix. And here's a hint. It's not about having more meetings or doing more alignment workshops. It's about engineering. It's about architecting your organization for decisiveness.
This right here is the absolute key takeaway from that whole story. Firing the VP of Ops wouldn't have actually solved the problem. Hiring a coach was a total waste of money. The issue was baked into the company's DNA, into its very structure. You cannot fix a governance problem with a personnel solution.
So let's stop with the soft fixes. You can't coach your way out of a broken system. The right fix is structural. You have to get under the hood and redesign how decisions actually get made. You explicitly declare who has the authority, you define its limits, and you build a system that shields those decisions from getting torn apart by politics and social game.
And then that really just leaves us with this final, tough question, and I want you to really think about it. Is your company's structure built for social comfort, or is it built for strategic survival? By avoiding those hard, awkward conversations about who has authority, are you prioritizing the short-term comfort of your team over the long-term survival of your company? Because as we've seen, you really can't have both.